This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. I am Adesu Al-Suyi and this is African Now. We begin with developments following the death of Tanzania's sitting president John Magufuli. Samia Hassan Suluhu, who became the first female vice president upon John Magufuli's election in 2015, is set to be sworn in as the sixth president of the Republic of Tanzania for the unexpired period of the recently deceased head of state's 5-year term. She will be Tanzania's first female president and also the first in East Africa. According to the Constitution of Tanzania, where the office of president becomes vacant by reason of death, then the vice president shall be sworn in and become the president for the unexpired period of the term of 5 years. After consulting with her ruling CCM political party, Suluhu will, according to the Constitution, select her deputy. Since she hails from Zanzibar, her deputy is required to come from the mainland. The nominee must be confirmed by a minimum of 50% of members of parliament. She was a parliament member for the Makunduchi constituency from 2010 to 2015 and has been Minister of State in the Vice President Office for Union Affairs since 2010. In 2014, she served as the Vice Chairperson for the Constitutional Assembly, which was tasked with drafting Tanzania's new constitution. Should she stay on as president for 3 years or more, the law states that she will be allowed to run for the presidency only once. Still on Magufuli's death, 14 days of national mourning have been declared in Tanzania to mark the death of President John Magufuli, who died at the age of 61. Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan said Magufuli had died from complications related to a heart condition. African leaders have been sending in their tribute. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has eulogized President John Magufuli as a pragmatic leader who believed in and worked for the economic empowerment of East Africans. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, in a statement, President Ramaphosa said he had spoken to Tanzanian Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan to express condolences in his personal capacity and on behalf of all South Africans. Also, South Africa is united in grief with the government and people of Tanzania as they go through this difficult moment, he said. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta says Magufuli was a champion of Pan-Africanism. Kenyatta has declared a 7-day period of national mourning in Kenya. It said the flag of the East African community and Kenya's flag will be flown at half-mast throughout Kenya and all its diplomatic mission abroad until sunset on the day of Magufuli's funeral. Former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan said John Magufuli was as a partner in democracy and a patriot who loved his country. A bright star has been plucked from the African continent, he tweeted. While Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed tweeted saying, Somalians wish the Tanzanian nation and the government patience and calm during this mourning and prayer period. To South Sudan, the United Nations Security Council on Monday extended the mandate of the United Nations mission in South Sudan until March 15, 2022, after the unanimous adoption of Resolution 2567 in 2021. In a press statement on Wednesday, the Council also demanded all parties in South Sudan's conflict and other armed actors to immediately cease fighting and engage in political dialogue in accordance with the peace agreement signed in 2018. According to the terms of the 13-page resolution, the 15-member council stated that UNMISS shall also deter violence against civilians, especially through proactive deployment and active patrolling, with particular attention to internally displaced persons and refugees in UNMISS protection sites. The mandate shall also include the creation of conditions that are conducive to the delivery of humanitarian assistance, supporting implementation of the revitalized agreement and the South Sudan peace process, as well as monitoring, investigating, and reporting of violation of international humanitarian law and violation and abuses of human rights, it added. The UN has also decided to maintain the mission's overall force levels at a ceiling of 17,000 troops and 2,101 police, including 88 correction officers. In Ethiopia, a United Nations Human Rights Chief, Michelle Bachelet, has agreed to an Ethiopian request for a joint investigation in the country's northern Tigray region, where Bachelet says possible war crimes may have been committed. Fighting between government troops and the region's former ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF), has killed thousands of people and forced hundreds of thousands from their homes in the mountainous region of about 5 million. The Charlotte responded positively to a request from the state-run Ethiopian Human Rights Commission for joint investigation in Tigray. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights spokesperson Jonathan Fowler said on Wednesday the UN Human Rights Office and EHRC are now developing an investigation plan which includes resources needed and practical modalities in order to launch the missions as soon as possible, Fowler said. Ethiopia's Foreign Ministry said on Saturday it was ready to work with international human rights experts to conduct investigation on allegations of abuses. This is your Digital First Pan-African Network, TOS Television Network. You are watching Africa Now. Do stay tuned for stories on activism from Mauritius and Egypt. Welcome back. In a remote stretch of the Western Indian Ocean, a 24-year-old Mauritian marine scientist dived below the choppy waves holding a placard reading "Youth Strike for Climate," which is an aggressive global action to fight climate change.
So I'm doing the first underwater climate strike at the site in Mala to raise awareness about its seagrass ecosystem. So it's the largest one and it stores carbon, so it's our biggest tool against the climate crisis.
The vast stretch of seagrass at the Saya de Malha Bank has become a priority for conservation, partly for its role in absorbing climate-warming carbon dioxide. Elsewhere, the world is losing some 7% of its seagrass cover per year due to dredging, rising ocean temperature, and other factors. The campaigners are hoping to draw attention to a UN goal of persuading countries to protect at least 30% of the planet's land and ocean by 2030, an interim target that many scientists say must be met to address the dual crisis of climate change and biodiversity loss. A court in Egypt has sentenced the prominent human rights activist Sanaa Seif to 18 months in jail after finding her guilty of spreading false news. Seif was detained in June as she tried to file a complaint about an assault that she had allegedly suffered. Prosecutors later accused her of making unfounded claims about the handling of COVID-19 outbreaks in Egyptian prisons. After COVID-19 reached Egypt, she accused prison authorities of mishandling outbreaks. Human Rights Watch documented several suspected outbreaks at prisons and police stations between last March and July, during which time it believes at least 14 prisoners died of COVID-19 complications. The 27-year-old was detained on 23 of June outside the public prosecutor's office in Cairo. Amnesty International said she had been convicted on bogus charges stemming purely from her peaceful criticism. Prosecutors subsequently accused Sanaa Seif of disseminating false news on the deterioration of the country's health situation and the spread of the coronavirus in prisons, as well as misusing social media and insulting a police officer. Still on Egypt, the country is racing to prepare a new capital city in the desert east of Cairo before the first civil servants move in this summer and ahead of the delayed official opening of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's flagship project. The city, known simply as a new administrative capital, is designed to operate with smart technology on virgin land away from the clutter and chaos of Cairo. But it has made halting progress, and after Emirati funding fell through shortly after it was announced in 2015, the military and government took on an estimated $25 billion cost of the first phase, injecting off-budget investment. Some foreign loans and financing have been secured. The coronavirus pandemic also slowed progress, and the first three planned phases, covering 168 square kilometers. The rate of completion of the first phase has passed 60% across all projects, said Khalid El Husseini, spokesman for the new capital. He added that the delayed transfer of civil servants will begin in July, ahead of an official opening planned for the end of 2021. This is your Digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS TV Network. You're still watching Africa Now. Up next is sports. Thanks for staying tuned. And in sports, substitute Shego Fatsoma Bassa made amends for a penalty miss as he scored on 89th minute winner to help Orlando Pirates beat Enyimba 2-1 in Johannesburg on Wednesday and move to 4 points in Group A of the Total CAF Confederation Cup. Meanwhile, in Cairo, Libya's Ali Benghazi defeated Algeria's ES Setif 1-0 at Petro Sports Stadium. Jibril Al-Waldawi scored the game's lone goal after just 3 minutes, making use of a long pass behind the Algerian defense. Both sides ended the game with 10 men, with Setif's Gacha and Ahil's Mahad both seeing red cards. The result allowed Ali Benghazi to share Enyimba's second place on 3 points, 2 more than Setif. And Kenya's Football Federation has called a friendly match against Tanzania that was scheduled to be played on Thursday in Nyayo National Stadium, Nairobi, beginning at 3 p.m. Coach Jacob Muli, in a morning radio show, said the match was called off following the death of Tanzania's president, John Magufuli. He did not indicate if it had been postponed to a later date. The friendly match was part of Kenya's preparation for Africa Cup of Nations qualification matches against Egypt and Togo, scheduled for later this month. And that is Africa Now. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Do also follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. My name is Adesuwa Osuyi. Thank you for watching.